What's your, well, I guess ghosts are real moment? All the following happened in the same room I lived in my second year of college, campus apartments. I had a door slam untouched. It was open 180 degrees and 6 of us were studying in my living room, and slam. I heard someone knock on my bedroom door at 2 a.m. I didn't have a roommate at the time. Had things randomly turn on. A TV, a fan, all stuff with soft switches. That room felt wrong the day I moved in. My ex-girlfriend, now wife, came while I was moving in and kept getting chills. My mom came over and kept saying she felt watched. I never felt alone in there. This is before all the other stuff. I found out to build those apartments, they moved a cemetery of monks. The campus had a monastery on it. A friend lived in a haunted house. He had a bunch of stories, so another friend and I went over and broke out an Ouija board. It happened that to this day I can't explain. We even used it at my nursing graduation party and things went sideways fast. It was so bizarre that my friend wouldn't even stay in the house any longer. He paid rent for the next 4 months while sleeping at another friend's house. So what kind of stuff happened? Initially, he was hearing footsteps up and down the stairs. Then things were turning up in weird places. Like he found his car keys behind a picture of his grandfather on the mantle in a room he didn't use. He came home late one night after a long shift and found all his shoes paired up outside his closet in a semicircle. The best was probably when his alarm didn't go off and he woke up and the clock said 6:30. He had to be at work at 7. He rushed to get ready and get out the door. 2 other clocks said the same thing. The clock in his car was broken, so obviously that didn't say anything. He walked into the ED where he worked, and people asked him why he was there so early. It was 0500. When he got home that night, all the clocks were back to the correct time. What started us playing with the Ouija board was when another friend, I'll call her S, and I were visiting. I'll call him C. We were in the kitchen talking and heard a loud crash that came from his office, and his cat came flying through the house and tried to leap through a closed screen door. We ran into the room and couldn't find anything out of place, but we could hear a strange buzzing sound. We searched the room and in the very back of one of the drawers was 2 old walkie-talkies that he didn't even remember he had. They were both on and buzzing. So S and I convinced C we should talk to it. He had an Ouija board someone had given him when he was a kid, so we broke it out. S and I put our hands on the indicator and it started moving. It moved slow. It couldn't spell well, so C was writing everything down, and we had to kind of decipher it, but it definitely made sense. It gave us a name, stated he died of disease during the Civil War. Where I grew up is nothing but battlefields right outside Richmond, Virginia. The next night we went back, but this time my mother came. She was really excited because she loved ghosts. Same stuff basically, except it asked if we wanted to see it. My mom said yes before anyone could say no, so we asked it to appear in a chair in a corner. We all saw the exact same thing, but we didn't discuss it until after we had stopped and closed the board. We all saw a thin sliver of gray mist about 3 feet in length. The mist then dissipated into a small cloud thing and then was gone. So word started to spread through the rescue squad C and I volunteered with. He was hosting my nursing school graduation party a couple weeks later. While everyone was there, maybe 20 to 25 people. Not a big group at all. People wanted to use it. So again, S and I got it out. Everything was fine until we asked it why it kept hiding keys and moving shoes, etc. It claimed it wasn't alone. Its brother was also there and the one playing the tricks. So we asked if we could talk to the brother. That's when things changed. All of a sudden, the indicator was moving so fast it didn't even completely stop on a letter. Just changed directions, and it was spelling perfectly. So we asked it why it was playing tricks and it said, and I quote, "Because I am a perfect gentleman," which made no effing sense. So we asked it to blow out a candle in a jar on the TV. Instead, the candle next to it went out and then quickly relit 3 times in a row, and then we watched the flame. This was a freestanding candle, bent completely sideways. No windows were open. It was still early, so not warm enough, no drafts. So then we asked it if it could appear in the same chair as before. We all stared intently, but nothing happened. That's when a friend behind me said, "Look by the fridge door." I looked, and sure enough, there was an indistinct misty form. This time it was in the vague shape of a man. As soon as everyone shifted to C, it disappeared. After that, it spelled out C's full name. C answered, "What?" And it spelled out, "Did I know you in another life?" At that point, C freaked out and asked us to stop. He left to get his rosary. Meanwhile, it kept telling us no when we said we had to go. C walked in the room saying Hail Marys. The indicator got snatched off the board by someone, and the blinds crashed down from the windows. Now everyone freaked. Lights came on and the party broke up not long after that. C never spent another night in that house and only went back for necessities. And of course the cat. My family home is not that old. My father built it. However, we've experienced weird stuff. I have to say the only reason why I accept that ghosts exist is because of what I've seen, heard, and touched myself. I have a lot of stories, steps, voices, and I was pretty convinced already. But once I saw a woman. She went from the living room to a different room, perfectly clear, smiled at me. Weirdly, she wore a white kind of Victorian dress. I told my dad expecting he would make fun of me, but he said he had seen her too. My mom is religious and just ignored the subject, and my brother just denied anything could be happening. One night my brother complained to me about a visitor that hadn't left and it was late. I told him there was no one and he insisted on a lady that must be my mother's friend. I asked him, "Isn't her dress a bit old-fashioned and white?" And he went pale. I told him to check again and she wasn't there anymore. After that, there's no way we could deny it. One time I saw a fork fly across the room and hit my friend. And then later out of nowhere, we both say at the exact same time, "What's his name?" And we both shout, "George." I mentioned this to my mom and she said the landlord's father died in the house, but she didn't know his name, so she asked the landlord and his name turned out to actually be George. That's a little too coincidental to not be real. Honest to God, true story. I lived in an old house that had been refurbished a lot over the years in a historic part of town with my roommate. I woke up one night around 3 a.m. and saw him standing in my doorway, which freaked me out because first of all, that's weird and not something he would do. And secondly, because I always lock my door. But I was half asleep and very groggy. I said his name. "Roommate, that's weird, cut it out." I grabbed the phone on my bedside table and shone the light, and there was nothing there except the dark wood of the door. No jackets hanging on the back of it or anything, I should add. Normal ghost stories so far, but that's not the end. A few days later, we were hanging out playing video games, casually talking. He's the one that started the conversation. "I shit you not. This is what he says. Dude, so something weird happened a few nights ago. I woke up around 3 a.m. and thought I saw you standing in the doorway of my room. I couldn't even talk for a few seconds, I was so weirded out." After talking about it, we concluded this did indeed happen on the same night. After that, we started referring to all the weird house creaks and groans affectionately as Oswald. A few weird things happened while we lived there, but nothing as scary or bold as that. Thankfully, Oswald backed off. I was home alone with my cat one time for a few days. My cat definitely does not meow, talk like a human. I heard something say "mom" in my sister's voice. Was chilling in the finished basement, which was the man cave for my brother, dad, and I, which has 2 TVs and PlayStation set up with an air hockey table and all sorts of stuff. My brother was out with his girlfriend or something and my parents went out to golf, so I decided to take the alone time and watch The Walking Dead when that was still interesting on the big TV in the basement. I had all the lights off and was at the part in I believe the first season where Carl is walking up to a deer and then a hunter shoots it and it goes through and hits the kid. The second the gunshot went off, every single poster or picture that was hanging on the walls fell to the floor. I ran upstairs so fast and sat in my room until my parents came back, and they went and hung everything back up. The frames of the pictures and posters are all still snapped at the bottom from where they hit the hardwood floor. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell for more videos.